The secret to absolutely perfect bodywork is primer surfacer. Primer surfacer is sandable, and to put it very simply, is thick. It has good filling capabilities, and it is able to build fast so that you have something to block sand. This panel had a dent right here along the body line, and then a few dents right here. I gave it 3 coats of primer surfacer and a little bit of glazing putty right here over a nick. Now we're going to block it. I'm going to use this medium-sized board with 80 grit. Some people would say 80 grit's a little bit too rough, but I like it because it cuts and it stays straight. It doesn't ride over and follow the curves. So this 80 grit will cut through there. Then I'll prime it again and block it with something finer, or hand sand it with finer sandpaper after that. I'm also going to use a rubber block with 80 grit. So first I'm just going to give it a guide coat with some black. Just real light. I'm going to let that dry a little bit and I'll be right back. I'm going to be concentrating while block sanding on just this large flat surface right here. And I'm not going to worry about this part or the body line just yet. I will be concentrating only on this flat surface. While block sanding, I'm going to be looking for low spots with the use of this black paint. So we're just going to go at different angles like this, and then like this, and maybe around in circles, back and forth, up and down. Really every different direction. And I think I got the bodywork pretty straight, but the block sanding will tell you if your bodywork is straight. Nice long flat stroke, and it's cutting, just cutting right through, nice and straight. And I haven't hit any metal yet. After making sure that this surface is perfect, only then do I worry about this surface. And incidentally, this is just so that my camera doesn't flip out. It has something to focus on. So in order to get this body line absolutely perfect, I'm going to use a piece of tape here. And I'm just going to start where it's good and then pull sort of tight. And then I'm just going to come along here and make sure that my tape looks absolutely perfect, and then my body line will look perfect. And I think that looks pretty good right there. So I just pulled a little bit taut and then just followed it along until I think that that looks nice and straight. Now, all I have to do is block up to that tape line, and my body line should be perfect. And you have to be somewhat careful at this point that you don't mess up the tape or get too aggressive. Just real light. And block sand up to that tape. And then the last little bit, I run it right on that edge of the tape, just real light. Till I see the tape start to fray a little bit, and that's good. And then I pull the tape, and my body line's perfect. I don't even want to touch that right now with the block. I'm just going to go over it really light with some really fine grit, like 400, just to knock that sharp edge down. Now before I prime this, I just want to show you a couple things that I think are very important to be aware of while block sanding. While I was block sanding this, I hit filler. And hitting filler is okay, or hitting putty is okay, or paint is okay. Anything that can be sanded down is okay. But when I hit metal, right here, I had to stop. Or there's a little tiny bit of metal showing right here, and I have to stop at that point, because the metal cannot be sanded down. Just wanted you to be aware of that. When you hit metal, you have to stop and either knock that down or fill in the low spots that didn't go away. In this situation, the low spots went away before the high spot showed up. So let me mix up a batch of primer. We'll throw a coat on and see what it looks like. After 2 or 3 light coats of primer, this panel is ready to be finished sanded and painted. One way to accomplish that is to wet sand this by hand with 400 grit or 320, or you could dry sand it with 220, being very careful around the body line. Or you could buzz it down with a DA like this with 220, and again staying away from this body line, doing this area by hand. So I hope you enjoyed this video on primer surfacer, block sanding, and getting your bodywork absolutely perfect. And if you did, and you'd like to see my latest videos, don't forget to hit the subscribe button.